front of Poseidon's kingdom does not scream "play me."
Look at this! Wow!
It's just not there.
No way.
Once you set the game up,
then it's cool.
Everyone in the room is like, "What are you playing?"
I know, right?
What's that? I mean, we had on our last game, I think everybody came by to see what we were doing because it was just that cool. And
one guy that came later after we had already finished the game was trying to set up, look, we can use this and it's so cool.
All right, now this is going to be one of those reviews, and I don't want this review to come across of, hey, look at this game that we have that you probably can't get. But that's really what's the case here, because the game is out of print at this point. However, my hope with this review is that some publisher is watching this, and they say, we need to print this game, because you need to print this game. Let me show you why. This is the board of the game, and I'm not going to hold you into suspense. I'm going to show you the coolest part of the game itself, and that is the wave mechanic. There will be often dice that are placed here on the top of the tower, or this wave. I'm going to call it dice tower, dice wave. And you start the game with some of these dice here, and as the game progresses, you'll be able to put more dice there. And when it's full, or at the beginning of the game, you're just going to tilt this over, and the dice are going to fall all over the board. Now, some dice have gone off the board, so those dice go back up on spaces up there. The rest of the dice go in different areas depending on where they landed. You just push them to the center. If they're on a line like this one, they go to the one that's closer to the beach. So you can see here is where all the dice have landed, and the numbers that they land on matters also. Now, the game is going to revolve around the board that I have over here, and I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer so we can see this board. And on this board you see some really, really cool, funky looking pieces. You have 3 sets of these, but they're really, really nice. You can see here's Patrick, I call him. But anyhow, what you're doing here is, here we have the Kraken. And the Kraken here has captured your little buddies. Help me! Help me! And you are trying to free these buddies by getting certain combinations of dice. So let's turn it a little bit so we can see it here. Each one needs a little bit different. So you can see here I need 7 in total. Here I need a low double. 2 1-2s or 3s, 2 4-5s or 6s, any 3 in a row, any 3 of a kind, and any 4 dice that are different. So whenever I have those dice, or I've eaten those dice, I will be able to free my guy from that particular spot. Also during the course of the game, when you use other people's dice, they're going to move their piece around this track, jumping over other people. And when you go all the way around the track, you can free the person over here, to the right, the person who has not yet been freed. So that's another way to free people from the track, by getting other people to use your dice. When you free your guy, you will look at the corresponding set of tiles, like here's one for 3 of a kind, 4 5s or 6s, and take the top one. As you can see, they go down in value, and they're worth points at the end of the game. Now on a player's turn, their options are very simple. Each player is going to have a bunch of dice that are in their color. And they also have 2 people on the board. You can see a group of 1 of each color is over here, and the other one is here hiding under the wave at that end. On your turn, you have one of 2 things. You can either put another dice up here, or you can build your reef. Now down here you can see I have some reef pieces. These are the 4 reef pieces that each player starts with, and you can set them up any way you want. But as the game progresses, instead of putting a die up on top, you can take a new reef piece and you can put it next to, or you can put it on top so it covers 2 different tiles. And you can see that as time progresses, you're going to be able to put more and more pieces on top. Now what do these pieces do? Well, these pieces here with a square on them, they will allow you to, when you capture it and eat dice, you can put dice there. So the more of these spaces, the more dice you can save, which allows you to get the any 4 different or any 3 of a kind. These here allow you to move your fish. These here allow you to put more dice in the wave, and these here allow you to eat more dice. Now, the way this works is you can always do one of every action. Like I said, you can put 1 die up on top of the tower. But then I look at the highest level. For example, here, the wave token is a level 3. So when I put dice in a tower, I'm allowed to put 3 dice. If for some magical way later on I was able to get to a level 4, I would be able to put 4 dice up there. This allows me to eat so many dice a turn, however high it is, and then the move 1 allows you to move your people so often during a turn. So the first thing you do in your turn is you put a die on the wave, or dice, depending on how high your reef is, or you build your reef. You have a whole pile of different reef tiles to pick from. Then you must move one of your people on the board. And there's a track that shows you how they move, and they can move in either direction. So usually you can always move 1, but your reef might allow you to move more than 1. After moving, you look and see if there's any dice there, and you can instantly eat them. Again, depending on how high your highest eating of dice token is, you can always eat 1. And you can either save it or use it and or dice that you have saved to free somebody from the Kraken. And that's basically the game. After you go, though, if you look over here, is our friend the shark. And he will move depending on the number of the space that he's on. So, for example, here he's on a 1, so he'll move 1, then he'll move 1, then here he moves 2. And he kind of moves in a figure 8 pattern around the board. If he crosses your character, if he crosses your person is eaten and dead. However, you get a new one who comes back to life over here. But to show that you got someone dead, you have to take one of these fish bones, and then you have to put it on an open spot on your reef. Well, that's not terribly good, because as you get more and more of them, you'll freeze up your spots, and they won't count anymore. Also, another thing, as you're putting dice on the wave, and dice on the wave are very important, but you'll notice if you look at the wave itself, here in the bottom it shows you some things. Whenever the wave dumps, you will look at the total of all your dice in the board, and you get to take a bonus. Put more dice in the wave, move your guy on a Kraken track in a few spaces, get rid of all your fish bones, or just free a guy for free. And so, getting dice in the wave and knocking them down is a big deal. Finally, at the end of the game, on the last turn of the game, which results after a certain number of turns, then you will be able to buy special tokens that will be sitting here on the board. So if this one here is by the 8, you can use up to a total of 8 on dice to buy it. And these will give you bonus points. Like this gives me 1 point for every movement token I have. Mostly they do that. Although there is one that will, if you have no fish bones on your reef, you get bonus points. And if you do have fish bones, you lose bonus points. So that adds it. And during the course of the game, some of these bonuses that you get from dropping the dice wave will allow you to free these and get these off, because that's a big deal. Otherwise you'll lose points. And once more, because it's cool. Okay, well, I already gave away my opinion, but
yep,
I really like it. The Fragor Brothers, or the Lamont Brothers, I'm sorry, from Fragor Games. It's from their first 2 names, Gordon and Fraser, put together as Fragor. Anyway.
Interesting.
So, they, well, they always do 1 game a year about animals. And sometimes their games are pretty good. A lot of people like Snowtails. And I like their frog jumping game. But sometimes their games are not quite as interesting, in my opinion. Like last year, the game Antics. Sounded cool. I like the theme of ants. Building the ant pile was neat. But the game itself was a little blasé. Poseidon's Kingdom stole that mechanic.
Such harsh words.
Well, you can borrow your own mechanics from yourself and no one will say anything, right? It took that mechanic because that was the best part of Antics by far. Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. I'm building this ant pile. Did we do a Miami thing of Antics? I don't remember if we did. No. But, Sam, if you didn't like Antics, did you?
Yeah.
Building the ant pile was neat.
Yeah, that was
and the game itself was like, bleh. So this says the same thing. You're building the reef, but this time it really means something in the game that's fun.
Right.
And it's also very simple. You're not sitting there saying, well, what do I need to do here? No, you move your fish or starfish or whatever. You eat some dice, and it has dice in it. And then there's the dice wave. One of the single most cool mechanics in a game ever, I think.
Yeah, it was cool.
I mean, it's not like it's some stunning...
Yeah, it's not groundbreaking, but it's cool.
Yeah, it works.
And it's visually appealing. So it draws attention to the game, which is cool.
And the game is set up so that you're constantly working. I mean, if you think about it, you're getting groups of dice to get victory point tiles. You're a game. But in this one, it makes sense. You're freeing them from the Kraken. You're running away from this insatiable shark that's moving around the board. The pieces are fantastic. Some of the best in a game.
and which will maybe if it is reprinted, they won't be that good.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to say that I think this is a not a strategy game.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so because.
Oh, you mean like it's more tactical?
Yes, I mean you can't have a game-long strategy and be able to stay with it. You're going to have to be able to be flexible, I guess you could say. If you try to stick with one strategy too strongly, it can be thwarted easily. At least that's what I found.
No. I mean, I did it too. I mean, I usually try to play where I try to put as much dice on top of the wave as I can, and then I played a game with people who did the same thing, and then I had to kind of readjust because that wasn't the only thing that was going to work in that situation.
Right.
And there's some interaction where you're taking other people's dice, but not that much.
Yeah, no, it is somewhat of has a little bit of a solitaire feel to it, but you do have to rub shoulders with the other players, and what they do can either affect you greatly or not affect you at all.
But yeah, because you're watching what they do, where they put dice, and it's really. I wasn't bored ever when I played the game. Turns are fairly quick.
Yeah, there's hardly any downtime, I think.
And you can play it with your family. I mean, I wouldn't play it with the little kids because they might cry when their fish get eaten by the shark anyway. But I mean, older kids, I'd say 10 and higher can easily play this, and they want to because they'll be like, "Oh, can I knock down the dice wave? Can I move the shark?" You know, and things like that. So, publishers who are watching this, make this game, remake it. It's a really good one. It's my choice actually for the best family game in 2011. It's hard for me to say that officially when then families will be like, where can we get it? Well, reprint it so that I can say that, folks.
Right.
So I'm giving this one 2-3 octopi tentacles up.
Octopi tentacles.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm going to give it 1.5 kraken teeth up.
That's gross.
It ate your tentacle.
No! All right. Well, there you have it. A great family game.